Chapter 4. Elizabeth and Jacob made their way up the hill, the soles of their boots crunching on the gravel as they made their way to the professor's door. The door was unlocked. They looked at each other before Elizabeth pushed the door open slightly and, shouting, said, "Hello! We're here, Professor!" "Hello, my young friends. Please take a seat," said the professor, gesturing to the chairs. Elizabeth smiled. "Thank you, Professor." She noticed a can of Pepsi already waiting for her in front of her usual place. "Would you like anything to drink, Jacob?" said the professor. "Would you mind if I have the same as Elizabeth, please?" said Jacob. "Not at all. I'll be back in one moment," said the professor. They weren't waiting long before he was back with Jacob's can and a drink of his own. The rest of the team was already there, on the wall screen over the live stream. "Hello, everyone," said Elizabeth. She got a smattering of greetings back and then said, "I think today we need to start with the professor." He nodded towards her. "I've looked into some public relations companies over the past few days since we last met. I have spoken to them repeatedly and paid their extortionate rates, but unfortunately, I'm afraid to say I've not seen much evidence of their work yet." "There have been a few things, but just not much," said Jack. "What do you mean?" said Elizabeth. "I'll set up a keyword tracker for certain phrases relating to us and our company, as well as what we want to achieve. The tracker will notify me if any of the keywords get used," said Jack. "That's brilliant, Jack. Is there anything else you've done?" said Elizabeth. "I've also sorted out more secure communications between us all. You should have noticed an app appear on your smart devices. If you ever want to communicate with any of us securely, open the app, then call, text, or email that person. I've also built a website and connected it to several social media sites. It's just waiting for the word and I can activate it," said Jack. "Jack, that's brilliant, but hold for now on activating the website," said Elizabeth. "Okay," said Jack. "The cat's out of the bag anyway," said Jacob, mumbling. Elizabeth gave Jacob a sharp glance before saying, "Anyway, please continue, Professor." "The credit really goes to Jacob, to be honest. I got the information regarding the public relations companies from him, and I'm afraid to say, my dear boy, but I also agree with her when it comes to the website. I do think it's probably time to make ourselves public, as we have already made ourselves known to people, and we know can't keep their mouths shut," said the professor. "Fine, you're probably right then," said Elizabeth, sighing and giving a quick glance towards Jacob before continuing. "Jack, you have the go-ahead then. Start up our website." Elizabeth watched Jack's picture on the wall screen. "Okay then, we're live," said Jack, tapping briefly on the keyboard just off screen. "That's it, all done. The world can see it now, or at least most of the world can." "Thank God the world didn't end," said Elizabeth sarcastically under her breath, but just loud enough for Jacob to hear. "Anyway, David, it's your turn now." "How have things been going over there in the States?" said Elizabeth. "I've got in touch with a few PR companies over here through my contacts in the media," said David, grimacing slightly. "They said they had a few more priorities at the moment, but will get to us when they had time." "Well, that's a bit annoying," said Jacob. "You're telling me you Brits definitely have a gift for understatement," said David. "I'm going to get in contact with my old friends again and see if they can point me in any other directions." "Okay, good luck with that. How about you, Jacob? How did things go with your meeting with the MP?" said Elizabeth. "To be honest, not much better than David's experience. I went and spoke to him and he just wanted party donations," said Jacob, shaking his head. "Okay then. What about you, Sam?" said Elizabeth, sighing. "Mine actually went a little bit better," said Sam. "The MP I spoke to also wanted party funding, but he also agreed to put forward certain motions at a space consultation that had already been arranged before the spaceplane bombings, and it still hasn't been cancelled, luckily." "Well, that's better than anyone else so far." "Well done," said Elizabeth. "But there's still more," said Sam, smiling. "On the way out, the secretary gave me an invite to a fundraiser where there will be plenty of rich and influential people. I have 2 tickets and some general information, which I'm forwarding to you now." "You're forwarding it to me? Why?" said Elizabeth. "You're the spokesperson or leader of this group." Don't you think it's you that should go? Said Sam. Well, when you put it that way, I suppose. But are you sure you don't want to go instead? Said Elizabeth. Hell no, I'm sure I don't want to go. I got into this for the love of engineering and a challenge, not to make some pretty words with pain-in-the-arse politicians, said Sam bluntly. OK then, but who will get the second ticket? Said Elizabeth. What about Jacob? Said Nathan, nodding towards him from his window on the large wall screen. What? Me, said Jacob, raising both hands in the air as if to ward something off. You're there, you're available, and you're good at talking, said Nathan. Actually, I was thinking someone more like you, Nathan, said Elizabeth, tapping a finger against her cheek in thought. Why me? Said Nathan. You're there, you're available, you're good at talking, and you're used to these sorts of situations, said Elizabeth, smiling. Ha ha, ha, very funny, said Nathan. OK then, I'll do it, but how do you know I've had experience with this sort of thing? I've read your file, said Elizabeth, before then turning to Sam on the wall screen. Well done, you've given us another chance at this. The credit really belongs to that secretary, to be honest, said Sam, blushing slightly and looking down at the floor. I suppose you're right, but still well done for getting this opportunity, said Elizabeth. Don't forget to get all dressed up for the paparazzi, said Jack, laughing and waving goodbye. One by one, the windows that were open on the large wall screen went blank and closed as they went offline, until there was only Nathan left on the screen. The professor stood up. Leave the organising to me. I've read through some of the information pack, and it's not too bad, although saying that… Nathan, do you have a tuxedo? I do. Why? Said Nathan. My boy, this is the sort of event where tuxedos are a minimum requirement, said the professor, shaking his head. I would have thought you'd know that. It's probably a good thing Jack isn't online, otherwise he would tease me about that as well, said Nathan, sighing. Get your tuxedo dry cleaned and ironed and be ready, said the professor. As for you, my dear, said the professor, turning towards Elizabeth, do you have a formal dress or cocktail dress? I have something kind of in between, said Elizabeth, frowning. It was something my mother made me get. Right, the fundraiser is in 2 days. Nathan, be ready by then, and I'll send a car for you, said the professor. A car, why? Said Nathan. I'm surprised you of all people have to ask that, said the professor. I'm curious as well, so how come we have to go in a car? Said Elizabeth. With a fundraiser like this, everything is posturing. I've never been to one exactly like this myself, but I've been to plenty of university fundraisers and there is a lot of posturing at them as well, said the professor.